All right, little doodles, we're going to continue our fraction practice for today. So this is our last practice before our quiz tomorrow. So make sure you have Monday, Tuesday, and today's assignment complete for tomorrow. And if you need to review any of the videos that we have done together to help you be successful on Thursday's quiz, please, please, please do so. So today we're going to continue with, again, fractions, but more specifically, we're going to do more mixed numbers. We're going to do more. That's right, mixed numbers. And if you remember from Monday, mixed numbers are the numbers where we see a whole value and a fraction. So we'll see that in all of the work that we are doing today. Make sure you have your paper and your pen or pencils ready. We're going to be doing a lot of models, so we're definitely going to be doing a lot of drawing. Go ahead and take the time to read the first story problem to yourself about Robin. Okay, the story problem says, Robin bought a bamboo plant that was 4 2/6 feet tall. After a month, it had grown another 9 5/6 feet tall. What was the total height of the plant after a month? Do you think that the total height of the plant after a month is going to be more than 9 5/6 feet tall or less than 9 5/6 feet tall? If you were thinking that the total height of the bamboo plat would be more than 9 5/6 feet tall, you're right. The story problem talks about how the initial height of the bamboo plant, which is 4 2/6 feet tall, and then it grew for an entire month. After that month, it grew 9 5/6 feet tall. So it's asking us for the total height. The total height means we need to combine what the initial height of the bamboo was, and then how much it grew after that month. What math operation tells us to combine values? That's right, addition. Go ahead and write a number sentence that you think matches the story, or more specifically, that is going to help us figure out how tall the bamboo plant is in total. Okay, a number sentence that I think would match to figure out, one, how tall the plant is altogether, but that more or less matches the story, is 4 2/6 plus 9 5/6. If you don't already have that written on your paper, make sure you write it. Okay, when we are adding fractions, we already know that we are not going to add the denominators. Why don't we add the denominators again? We don't add the denominators in fractions because the denominators are talking about the number of equal size pieces. And when we combine those equal size pieces, do the sizes change? No, the size stays the same. So when we combine these sixths, they will still remain sixths. When you combine fractions that are mixed numbers, you can start with the whole numbers, or you could start with the fractions. Let's go ahead and start with the whole numbers since that's pretty easy. So let's do 4 plus 9. What is 4 plus 9? Easy. 4 plus 9 is 13. Well, now we can add 2/6 plus 5/6. 2/6 and 5/6 make 7/6. So looks like when we combine 4 2/6 with 9 5/6, we get 13 7/6. Well, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to see if we can simplify. If we can, trait simplify. What simplify means is that we just make the fraction in the smallest form. Well, what does that also mean? Well, let's look at this fraction right here, 7/6. How many sixths equal one whole? 6/6 equal one whole. So when we look at this fraction right here, 7/6, is that the most simplest way to write it? Well, another way that you could write 7/6 is 6/6 plus 1/6, right? Because we already know that it's made out of 6/6. Well, what do we know about 6/6? Well, 6/6 is equal to one whole. So we can also write it as one whole plus 1/6. So now we can combine the one whole with 13, and our answer is 14 wholes and 1/6. Now these answer scholars, they are equivalent. Why are they equivalent? Well, they're equivalent because they are the same size, just written different ways. And in a couple of seconds, I'm going to show you how these are the same. Okay, so I said I was going to show you what this would look like, or more specifically, why this is true. Okay, so I'm going to draw a picture of 7/6. Now, that means that I have to start off with one whole, and I'm going to draw one whole rectangle. I need to show 6 equal size pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so there's my equal size pieces, and there are 6 of them. So then that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I need to show 7. So if I need to show 7, does that mean that I just draw an extra piece here? No, because if I drew an extra piece, that would now be sevenths. And I'm not trying to draw sevenths, we're trying to draw sixths. So what that really then means is that you actually need one more sixth that is in another hole. So I have to draw another hole that shows 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so again, 1, 6, 2, 6, 3, 6, 4, 6, 5, 6, 6, 6. And that's where we noticed that it was equal to one whole. Then we have 7/6. So that means that 7/6 is equivalent to 1 and 1/6. So again, going back to what we said before, 13/7/6 is totally a correct and appropriate answer. The simplest form, however, is 14 and 1/6. This will be really important for your quiz tomorrow because you'll definitely have questions that'll say, please add or subtract these fractions and find the simplest form. Okay, let's go ahead now and type in our answer. So we're actually going to put in our first answer of 13 and 7/6. So in the blank space, type 13 space. Now we have to put in a fraction, and our fraction is 7/6. So you find 7, and then the fraction bar that goes in this direction, remember that is right next to the period, slash 6. So 13, 7, 6. And let's go ahead and also write feet tall. Sweet bros. Okay, organize your scrap piece of paper for number 2. Then go ahead and read that story problem to yourself. Okay, story problem number 2 says, on Monday, Tiffany spent 5 and 1/2 hours studying. On Tuesday, she spent another 2.5 hours studying. How many more hours did Tiffany spend studying on Monday than she did on Tuesday? So which day did Tiffany study the most? Go back in the story and find that evidence. Tiffany spent the most amount of studying on Monday because in the story it says on Monday, Tiffany spent 5.5 hours studying. However, on Tuesday, she spent 2.5 hours. Well, I know that 5.5 is greater than 2.5. So the question then asks, how many more hours did Tiffany spend studying on Monday than she did on Tuesday? What could be a number sentence that we could use to figure out this question? Take about 5 to 10 seconds to write that on your paper. Okay, now let's go ahead and compare and contrast our number sentences that we think could help us solve this question. And I came up with two. The first one that I was thinking of was simple subtraction, is to do 5.5 minus 2.5. I want to take away the amount of hours that she studied on Tuesday from the hours on Monday. That'll tell me how much more she studied on Monday. So basically, I could start from the bigger number, take away the smaller number, and then I'm given what's left. Another way that I was thinking about it was that what if I actually started from the smaller number and counted until I got to the bigger number? I see that a lot of scholars do this with different story problems, especially when we're not involving fractions. This strategy will apply even when you are using fractions. So let's start off with the first number sentence. Let's do 5.5 minus 2.5. Well, the best way to do that is to draw a picture. So your picture is going to show 5 holes and 1/2 of a hole. What's really important about drawing your picture is to make sure that each piece is the same size. More specifically, the whole pieces. So when I draw my picture of 5.5, I want to make sure that, again, the whole pieces are the same size. So each of these squares that I'm drawing is representing one hole. And I've drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need to draw 1/2. Well, again, in order for me to draw the 1/2, I'm not going to make my hole like a giant square. I need to make it the same size, same exact size. So I'm going to draw my 5.5 below, and I'm going to take that hole and I'm going to cut it into a half piece. I'm going to go back and I'm going to label to make sure I have 5.5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then here's our 1/2 piece. We do not need that piece. Why do we not need this other half piece? We don't need the other half piece because the number is 5 holes and 1/2. If we use this extra half, that'll be 6 holes. So now what we need to do is we need to show that we are taking away. So if we want to show that we are taking away, we can simply cross out the values that we want to take away, just like we would if these were hundreds blocks or 10 sticks or ones. So let's take away 2 and 1/2. Well, when we take away 2 holes, again, I can simply just cross that value out. We took away 2 holes, now we need to take away 1/2. Well, the 1/2 piece is in that hole that we cut into 2 pieces. All we have to do then is just count what's left. So in our picture, looks like what's left is 3 holes. Now we could do the same doing the opposite, meaning we could start with 2 and 1/2 piece. And we can keep adding pieces until we get to 5 and 1/2. And actually, I'm going to do that in a different color. So in this picture, 1, 2, and here is our 1/2. So anything else that I build upon this picture is going to be added to that 2 and 1/2 to get to 5 and 1/2. So again, I'm starting off with 2 and 1/2. I need to show 5 and 1/2. Well, if I add another 1/2 piece, we're also going to need to add another hole so that we're at 4 holes, add another hole so that we're at 5 holes, and then we need to add a 1/2 piece. And I'm going to draw the other half from my hole so that you guys can see what that would look like. So what that means is that we added a 1/2 piece, a whole piece, a whole piece, and another 1/2 piece. So that's basically 1 plus 1 plus 1/2 plus 1/2. 1 plus 1 makes 2. 1/2 plus 1/2 makes 2 halves. We know that 2 halves is the same as, that's right, 1 whole. So then 2 wholes plus 2 halves makes 3 holes. So it matches the answer that I got in my first strategy. Quickly double check or edit your work. Then let's go back and type in 3 holes. Look, my new cursor today. Just thinking. Wait, should I do this like this? Cool. All right, we're gonna write 3. And let's go ahead and also just make sure that we're typing in whatever the answer is to the story problem. So how many more hours? We're gonna say 3 more hours. Okay, I want you to try question number 3 by yourself, and I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. Double check. You can use number sentences, but definitely draw that picture. So start with 4 and 2/6, then take away 2 and 4/6. Or start with the opposite that we just worked on, where we started from the small number and we added until we got to the big number. Again, 3 minutes to try that on your own. All right, coming back to you live from my house to review number 3. Okay, number 3 is 4 and 2/6 minus 2 and 4/6. So this is pretty juicy already because I can see that the 4/6 is bigger than 2/6. Oh no! But don't worry, it's going to be just like what we did in week 1 and week 2 where we had to borrow. Remember when we didn't have enough in the ones? We went to the tens. It's the same thing with fractions. When we don't have enough pieces, we go to the whole pieces. So I started with drawing a picture of 4 and 2/6. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then over here is where I took my 1 whole and I cut it up into 2/6. So if it has a black X right over here, that means I do not need those. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 6, 2, 6. Okay, I needed to take away 2 wholes first, which was the easy part. 1, 2. Then we have to take away 4/6. So I go over to my picture that shows 2/6. I take away those 2, but it wasn't enough. So what I need to then do is I need to go to the whole. Well, I hadn't cut this up yet. So I then need to cut it up into 6. Into, that's right, 6, because I'm still taking away 6. And more specifically, I need to take away 1, 2 more 6. So now I've taken away 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Last and final step is to just count what is left over. What is left over is anything that doesn't have an X in it. So 1 whole, 1 6, 2 6, whoops, 3 6, and 4 6. So when we take away 4 and 2/6 with 2 and 4/6, our answer is 1 and 4/6. Let's go ahead and type that into the blank space. So we're going to type in 1 and 4/6. You don't have to type in the word 4/6, but remember you have 4/fraction bar 6. Okay, use all of these models that we did in our guide to practice to help you with your independent practice. Your independent practice is nothing but story problems. So read them very carefully. You're either adding or subtracting. Please put all of your work on this scratch piece of paper. And if you need any help, please come and visit office hours. If not, we might ask you to come to reteach tomorrow to get some extra help before your quiz. Have a great Wednesday. See you later, scholars.